Hello and namaskar. Welcome to IIPA. I'm Rakhee Bakshee. This is a special interview series that we have designed for you targeting at UPSC aspirants. So here we are talking to all those candidates who have appeared multiple times and have attempted at UPSC examination. So how one should prepare, what are the methods, what is it that it entails when you prepare for UPSC? We are going to talk about that, and we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Shankaran, and I'm going to talk to him. Welcome to this show and special interview series, Shankaran.
Thank you.
So first of all, tell us, a lot of people would like to know, what does it entail when you prepare for UPSC examination? Some would say that one has to study long hours. Some would say there should be methodical planning. What is it, the strategy that you adopted when you are prepared for UPSC?
Ma'am, thank you for this question. Firstly, I would like to begin by saying that in this exam, it requires a smart planning. So before you actually start getting into it, you need to understand your strengths and weaknesses. Secondly, what I would say is understand the syllabus of the UPSC exam, understand the requirements of the exam, and there are multiple exams of, like, we have prelims, you have mains, you have interview. So here, understand the contents which is what is expected from us. So that is one. So later on, the strategy that you have asked, the strategy is based on your understanding of your strengths and understanding of the exam. So here I need to maintain the foundation of the subject. Basics of the subject is most important here. So because if without the basics you cannot have a successful in this. People are faltered in the later stages of the exam because of lack of basics. So here the basics are very important. So firstly, we need to have a very strong basics. Spend more time as much as you can. And I will not say there is only one strategy. You can have multiple strategies on the basis of it. So for example, if you want to have a strong basic, you need to have another strategy. If you have before exam, you have, so it's another strategy. You need to have a revision strategy. So you need to have 1 year planning before attempting the exam about focusing purely on basics, purely on your optional paper, purely on GS paper, general studies paper, and so on. So here, before 4 months of prelims examinations, for example, prelims is conducted on June. So it is expected that by February your syllabus must be complete, your notes must be complete. So here the foundation must be very strong. After that you start your revision.
Okay.
And you start your revision for prelims exam. You start your test series, and then after clearing the prelims, you have mains exam. So that is another strategy.
So basically, Mr. Shankaran, you're saying one has to be very structured and organized and planned. It's not about that one would think that only give long hours and then, you can crack it. You have to have a proper strategy also in place where you are very sure about how you're going to study.
Yes, ma'am. So long hours is one part of the strategy. So for example, if you think you are going to spend so much of time on subjects which are not important, so it is not useful. So what is important is focusing on those subjects. You have to spend more time on it. If you are weak in that particular subject which is very important, you have to spend more time. So spending more time is okay, but it is important you do it for a continuous period of time. So if you spend say 10 hours on one day, next day I spend 2 hours, there is no point. So you need to have a consistent method.
You are saying consistency is very, very important, and that's what you're sharing, and I'm sure for people who are watching it, it is a very important element for this examination. Also, UPSC examination is called one of the toughest examination, most competitive also. How does one really prepare oneself, I would say mentally? The mental strength is also very important. So what would you say really relaxes you or strengthens you to study well?
Firstly, I would say that you need to why you have started this exam, why you want to prepare for this exam. So that is the first goal you have in mind, and you need to keep reminding yourself every day why you have chosen this path.
Okay.
Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. And secondly, motivation can help you start your exam, but it cannot have that kind of feeling every day. So you need to have patience, you need to have perseverance, and have a belief in yourself that you can actually crack this exam.
That you can do it. That kind of belief you should have within yourself. And that's what you're saying, Mr. Shankaran. And thank you for that. But tell us about your own experience. Was it your first attempt? What subjects did you choose? What are the optionals that you looked at? Please tell us more about your own experience.
This is my third attempt. I've appeared for interview. First attempt, I chose economics optional, which is different from my background in graduation, which is engineering. The reason why I took this because I was very interested in this, learning about this subject, and I felt aptitude in this economics subject. First attempt, I went to interview with economics optional, and I missed by 20 marks. It was because of the poor score in economics optional, because that was my first time. Later I realized my basics was not very strong as I thought to be. I kept improving. Second attempt also like that, and third attempt, this is my results are yet to become. I hope that I've
So
improved.
each attempt you are actually sharing with us here that with each attempt you improved upon yourself. So you looked at your own weaknesses, you looked at your own strengths. So you have to remind yourself and revise yourself each time, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. So every attempt is a experience in itself. You learn about whatever mistakes you have made, and that is why it is expected that whatever mistakes you have made, you have to be open about it and learn from it, so that you don't repeat it again in the next attempt.
And how do you also learn, from resource materials? So there could be ways. Either you choose magazines, publications, books, or you can also talk to some of your seniors or people who are experienced.
In this exam, there are plethora of materials. Many books are there. First, I had a fortunate mentor before the beginning of the preparation, saying that it is not important to cover all the subjects, all the books. It is just pick one book and revise multiple times instead of having multiple books and just reading only few times. You have to revise each and every time of that particular book. So you have to master in that book alone. There are many resources available in the market. Pick one, have a belief in yourself that this is enough. And as far as current affairs are concerned, I would say newspaper reading, daily newspaper reading is a must. There is no substitute for it, because if you have journals, many current affairs magazines by coaching institutions, that may be a division, but ultimately your newspaper is real thing. And just one thing I would say is, have a belief in yourself that this particular material is going to help me crack this exam. So you should not have fearing of missing out multiple materials.
So there are candidates of all kinds. Some who are already employed when they are preparing or attempting. On some of them who are fresh in terms of just finishing their educational qualification. So tell us about your background. What did you study? What is your educational qualification? Or were you employed when you started preparing?
I did my graduation in electrical and electronics in Coimbatore. After that, I worked 1 year in Bangalore. I started prelims preparation in the middle of my job, and I found it very difficult to focus fully on UPSC. As a result, I left my job. After that, I went to Delhi, and I went to coaching institution, and I learned, built up on my foundation. And yes, I would say first 1 year or 2 years or so, you need to give full time to UPSC preparation. As your foundation is built, as your basics are strong, I would say that after that you can start. I would say you can continue to work, you can look for the jobs, because that requires only revision thereon after 1 or 2 years or so. It is only a minimal effort that is required. So the first 2 years it is very difficult with a job. After that you can manage it with a job.
It is my experience also. For example, when you start preparing, then you suddenly discover also certain new things, your own insights, that I should actually do this, to get my own strategy in place. Is there anything which is a key highlight of your own study, any insight that you would like to share?
Ma'am, in this UPSC preparation, there are many things that we learn which we may have not touched upon in our graduation or in our schooling. So for example, we have learned about history of our country. We have learned about many things, these things which as every citizen should know. We know about polity, the economy, the ethical, how we should behave in an ethical manner. So these are the things that help us prepare the character of an individual, and that is, I would say, it contributes to the overall development of a nation. Even if one does not clear the exam, still the person goes on become a better citizen. And even in the service, when we hope to be get selected, we have many avenues where we can contribute. For example, I'm an engineer, so I would contribute how we can contribute in a technology development, and so on. There are many ways So this offers an opportunity to where we can contribute as much as we can.
You know, right now as we are talking, so many of these young people especially who are aspiring to sit for UPSC examination would be watching us. Is there any message also that you would like to really share with them about their goal to be achieved, about their dreams to be achieved?
I would just share two messages. One is have a belief in yourself and self-confidence. That is ultimately going to be your source of strength. Secondly is perseverance. You never should give up at all. You should ensure that you never sight away from the goal. You should always look at the goal and try to put efforts as much as we can without having to worry about the result. Focus on the process, not on the outcome.
And you know, one question that we were just discussing also is that when one talks about learning, you know, what could be these new ways of learning? So somebody would say, oh, there is social media. How much of importance do you think there should be?
Nowadays, social media has become a very inevitable part of our life. In my UPSC preparation, I have found there are many distractions in social media, but it is important that the news that comes on social media is very fast and very elaborative compared to what we see in earlier years. I follow some of the channels in social media, very good channels. Economics, international relations, are many good sources. So it is important to focus on these areas instead of getting distracted. So
be very specific. That's what you're saying, and choose very carefully. That's what you're saying.
And allot some time to it.
So some time to it. Choose carefully, and that's how you can really learn a lot. So thank you, Mr. Shankaran, for sharing all these ideas with us here. Also, some of the strategies that you have basically shared for the benefit of our viewers. And we wish you all the best because you're just awaiting your result. And thank you once again for talking to us here at IIPA. And that was Mr. Shankaran talking to us here in this special interview series that we have designed very specifically for all of you UPSC aspirants. Do give us your feedback. Till then, namaskar.